on the Cambridge Ball State Cardinals Sports Network. From Learfield, this is the Chirpcast, your source for everything Ball State athletics. Now, here is the voice of the Cardinals, Mick Tidrow.
Back with another edition of Chirpcast, the Coach's Show with head coach Mike Neu. We'll also sit down with Jaquan Amos and Kyle King, break down some of the defense and Amos King's story about the transfer to Ball State and what they've done since they've gotten here. But we're starting off with head coach Mike Neu, as always. Coach, appreciate you jumping on as always.
It's great to be here.
So, Coach, we're 8 games through the season. It seems like it's flying by at a pretty quick pace. How would you assess where this group is overall through the season?
Yeah, you're right. It's hard. I can't believe that we're sitting here already staring at the month of November, transitioning into midweek action, and it goes fast, and I think back like it was a blur, like from the time we started training camp to get to this point. So, obviously assessing where we're at right now. I mean, this conference is extremely competitive, as everybody knows, and we're right in the thick of things as we head into the month of November. And, obviously coming off of a tough loss that we had here at home for homecoming against Eastern Michigan. Obviously, I think having a couple extra days here on what we're calling a mini bye week come at a really good time for us to get away for a second, to try to get a few guys that have been limited some with getting those guys healed up. And, we got to bounce back. And, it doesn't really matter how you start. Really what matters the most is how you finish. And we're staring at one game season. That's what it's got to be. That's got to be the approach. And, obviously it gave the guys a few extra days off from the field this week to focus on academics because it gets challenging, especially playing 3 out of the 4 games here in November on the road. Obviously they're going to miss most of school on Monday, most of obviously school on Tuesday. So you're talking about missing Monday and Tuesday of class, and then getting back late into the morning. Obviously, I believe in this football team. I believe that our focus is where it needs to be, and playing our best football here down the stretch is obviously what is extremely important.
You mentioned the rest to get some guys back in healthy all across the board. Outside of that, what do the couple of days of pad look like going from the Saturday and then to the Tuesday and 10-day period?
Yeah, obviously your practice schedule changes now. We had to take advantage of a couple days to get on the road recruiting with the assistant coaches, so a lot of those guys left out Sunday night. We're on the road Monday and Tuesday trying to take advantage of really the only time that we have during the season to try to get out on the road and to visit some of the high schools, to follow up with some of our prospects, some of our commits. So that was good to be able to do that. But, obviously, today is a heavy, like a normal Sunday for us. If you play on Tuesday night, obviously that on a normal game week would be Saturday. Then the next day, which obviously is Wednesday, that's when you kind of wrap up. Then you give the players off on Thursday, which is a Monday. Give them off on Monday, which is now Thursday. So we'll be back on the practice field starting tomorrow with our normal week of preparation. It's just you throw the days out the window. This is just day number 1 tomorrow in terms of your preparation. It's hard to figure out. You don't even realize it's a Saturday. You don't realize it's a Sunday. It's
for sure.
It's just the next day in order to get yourself ready to go.
How nice is it, though, to have all of the midweek action games on Tuesdays and not have to go Wednesday, do this, and your schedule becomes even worse.
That's right. You obviously love that part of it because we have a chance to be consistent with our schedule. And so do love that we have 4 of them that all end up falling on a Tuesday night. So that's good to be able to have some consistency, as we work through the month of November here.
So you talk about having the preparations, getting through practice and everything for this Tuesday string of 4 straight games. How does it change from the scheduling standpoint in terms of making sure everything is still lined up to where these guys can go in and have these Tuesday night success games?
Yeah, no question about it. Obviously, the one part that's nice is, when we were playing Saturday games, it was challenging. We were missing a handful of guys on Tuesday and Wednesday that had class conflicts. So now we shift to, Fridays where those guys on Tuesday don't have, because you're dealing with the Tuesday, Thursday guys that have class conflicts. So it's nice to not have to deal with some of the class conflicts that we had to deal with when we were playing Saturday games. And then when we do practice on Saturday, there is no class conflict, so we don't have to worry about that. So it is nice to be able to have work days on the weekend where, obviously we're not pinched for time where we have to cut this out or let guys go early because of class. So it is nice to be able to have that where a work day falls on the weekend and really, and then you think about Mondays now, we finish our preparation here in the mornings with our meetings, with our Fast Friday type of practice, and then we got to get on a bus right away and travel. So it is what it is, but we definitely appreciate having the opportunity to play on a Tuesday night when there's no other show in town on TV, and so it's a lot of fun that way, and our guys appreciate that.
Have you as a coach adjusted to Tuesday night action or weekday action yet?
I think you just have to. I don't know if there's ever such a thing as, like you said, it's nice when you look at your schedule and you looked at, all 4 of these games in November fall on Tuesday night. So I appreciate being able to have a consistent approach because, it's such a process-oriented, game in terms of all the preparation that takes place throughout a week to get ready for game day. So I do appreciate that. And just it is what it is. We embrace it. Obviously, Maction is what makes this conference so awesome because it always comes down to these games in November, and it can change week to week. We've experienced that, but we just got to focus on making sure we're playing our best football, continue to keep working on things that are a weakness for us, and go out there on the field and play our best football when it matters the most.
What are some of those things that you do want to work on after 8 games?
Well, obviously you can't, lose the turnover battle. We've attacked, obviously we spend a lot of time on situational football. You got to be good in the red zone. We dial it back and look at the last game that we played here against Eastern, and we had 2 turnovers there in scoring position in the red zone, one on a snap and one on an interception. And so, obviously decision making, those are things that you make sure you get it addressed in the meeting room. You make sure that, you emphasize that type of work on the practice field and to make sure that those aren't things that continue to show up week after week. So, there's, you work on everything every week because, when you're playing this game and, whether it's offense, defense, or special teams, the goal is to be consistent each and every week. And until you can do that in all 3 phases, you got something to work on all the time. And we're no different. We're just going to continue to keep working and, putting our guys in a position to be successful.
We're 2/3 of the way through the regular season already?
Hard to believe.
Where do the strengths lie within this team?
I really do like where we're at right now, playing good defensive football. I really, I think that's just gotten stronger for us over the last several weeks. We just keep playing at a higher level. We continue, I think even a few weeks back when you started to see the production really start to increase with the defensive line. I think that's been awesome just to see that continue to climb and to continue to get better every week because it all starts with that. And then I think, all of our guys kind of feed off of each other that way. So I've been really proud of the defensive football that we've been playing, especially over the last 4 or 5 games. It's only getting better, and we're going to need that to continue. And then, really special teams, obviously we got to clean up a few things, especially when you talk about our extra point and our field goal unit. But I do think overall play, you look at what we're doing special teams-wise and what Coach Conley's done here the first year, I think we've been really good on our punt protection, which is obviously something that shows up in every single game. You're going to be on your punt unit's going to go out there and take the field. Been really strong with our kickoff cover unit, which has been awesome. And really offensively, I think we've been able to run the football and do some good things where we got to make sure that what we do a good job of here is scoring more points down the stretch. We gotta score more points. It is what it is. That's something that we've discussed a lot. We're 9th right now in the conference in scoring, and so that's got to pick up. And every one of us knows that we've worked hard on that in the meeting room, and we got to figure out a way to get that done.
With head coach Mike Neu on Chirpcast, the Coaches Show, looking ahead to Kent State and looking at the season overall. Mike, I'm glad you brought up the defensive line because that unit has been pretty nasty the last couple of weeks. What's clicking for them right now?
I think you just see their confidence level growing. I think we've talked about it in the last couple of shows or previously on the shows that we've done. And early on, there was probably a lot of pressure on those guys because they came out of spring ball as one of the top groups on the team. They came out of fall camp as one of the top groups on the team. So early on in the season, when they weren't putting up some of the numbers like they are now, there was probably some undue pressure, those guys probably putting pressure on themselves. But I think you can see their confidence level growing when they've put some of the things out there that they have, and they've played the way they have the last several weeks. Certainly the confidence is growing. Then you see the effort in which they feed off of that confidence, and then you see the effort by the entire group really just pick up, and they feed off of one another. And it's been good to see that because obviously we felt strongly even back in the days in spring ball that this is going to be a unit for us, that D-line group that can really be a strength of our football team, not just defensively, but the strength of our team. And, down the stretch, the depth is going to be needed because injuries are going to happen this game. Guys are going to get banged up. And, that's a good situation to be in, having good depth in that room.
One of those players that's been part of that depth in that rotation is Kyle King, who we'll have on later here on Chirpcast in the show. What has he done specifically to assert himself as part of the rotation?
Yeah, I think his role and his snaps have continued to grow every single week. When Kyle got here back in January and came into our program as a transfer, we recruited him heavily in high school at New Pal. And so we had worked hard in the recruiting process. Obviously, he made the decision to go to Michigan State, but he's been a great addition to our program. Had a lot of success coming out of high school at New Pal, one of the top programs, in Indiana. And so he's been awesome since Kyle's got such good size, and he's such a really good athlete. I had a chance also to see him play basketball when he was in high school. My kids went to Delta, and they competed against New Pal in high school, so I was able to see him play on the basketball field, and his athleticism and his basketball ability, those skills certainly transitioned over to the football field. And he's just he's one of those guys that I feel strongly, he just keeps getting more confident as he gets more snaps, and he's put a lot of good things out there and made a lot of big plays for us over the last several weeks. And it's going to see that, it's awesome. It's going to see, his snaps continue to increase here as we get into action, and Kyle has earned those snaps.
It's a cool full circle moment for him to come to Ball State after you recruited him. He goes to Michigan State. He's from the area. Those are always some of the best stories for him to be able to come in here and now have some success.
It is. And obviously, I wasn't there. I don't really know how everything went down or at Michigan State, but I know for us, he's been a great addition to our family here, and he's done a great job since he's arrived. He's got a really good work ethic. He's a high character guy, and he's only going to continue to get better. And I feel strongly that the sky is the limit here for Kyle, and he's really done a good job of just putting his head down and working hard and doing everything that he's been asked, from his position coaches, from the strength staff, and it's been awesome to see that since he's joined our program.
We're also going to have Jaquan Amos come on the show. Just want to talk about Jaquan with you for a moment because he has been somebody that's a staple in the backfield and the defensive side of things. What has he brought to the table to help elevate this unit?
Yeah, Jaquan's a playmaker. He has been involved in a lot of different ways from a defensive standpoint. Obviously, he is a very solid tackler in the open field. He's been very productive when we've utilized him in the pressure package. He's just a football player. He's got great instincts. He's very smart in terms of his football intelligence and what we've asked of him. And he, too, just like Kyle, when he arrived here, he just put his head down and went to work. And, he's earned it. And he knew coming in here, he had a little bit of an injury and a setback when he was at Iowa State. That didn't go exactly the way that he envisioned. But, he came in and just, he went to work. And even back, when we were on the practice field, too, and you think about spring practice, you think about training camp every day. We were in the meeting room. We started talking about personnel, and Jaquan was one of those guys that was always, talked about a lot just because of what he was doing on the practice field, the plays that he was making. He's got great size. He's always around the football, and he's been, his confidence too. You can just see his confidence level grow each and every week, and he puts the work into. That's the one thing I have a lot of respect for guys that they do. It's one thing to go out there and perform the way they do on the field, but it all starts with putting the work in off the field too, in the meeting room, being locked in, being focused, and Jaquan's really done a good job with that.
Week 1 of Tuesday Night Action about to start. We're with head coach Mike Neu on the Coaches Show and Chirpcast. Before we let you go, Coach, looking at Kent State, what challenges do they pose?
Well, first and foremost, obviously you got a lot of respect for them. They've a 12-game winning streak at home. The last loss that they had at home was in 2019 versus Miami, so they've done a good job of protecting their house. Coach Lewis has implemented back when he arrived there the flash fast mantra to their program, and obviously, offensively, obviously they like to get things going at a high pace, and so they're number one in our conference right now in terms of total offense. They're about 50-50, as close to 50-50 as they've been in terms of running the ball and throwing the ball. So they've got extremely good balance. They've got big playability, not only at the running back position with Marquez Cooper, but also on the perimeter. Dante Cephas is one of the top wide receivers in our conference. He's put up some really big numbers. He's got big playability. So it's going to be a good challenge that way, and obviously going there to get action started on a Tuesday night, it's going to be a challenge, and obviously we got to have a great week of preparation. The last time that we were there was 2019. It was a 41-38 loss that day for the Cardinals, but it's going to be a battle, and they're obviously just in the thick of things, no different than we are. They're standing at 2-2 in the MAC, over in the East, and everything's on the line for them, just like everything's on the line for us.
You mentioned it, 2-2. A couple of teams looking for a win in the Mid-American Conference. Coach, appreciate you jumping on as always.
All right, appreciate you having me.
That's head coach Mike Neu on Chirpcast, the Coaches Show. We'll sit down with Jaquan Amos and Kyle King, break down their journeys throughout Ball State football.
Did you know that your dental exam can reveal many other health issues? Poor sleep, headaches, anxiety, and acid reflux are just a few issues that can be recognized in a dental exam. All health care can be made easier when caught early, so prevention is the key. Our team at University Avenue Dental prides itself in being on the cutting edge as part of your medical team. With thorough testing, imaging, and examination, Dr. Greg Powell will work with you on a personal level to ensure you receive the very best care. If preventative care is what you're looking for, please call Dr. Pyle at 765-288-6121 or online at drgregpyle.com.
Welcome back into Chirpcast. We've already talked with head coach Mike Neu, looking back at the season as a whole and also forward to Kent State. We're now with defensive back Jaquan Amos. Jaquan, appreciate you jumping on with us.
Appreciate you for having me.
So, Jaquan, it's year one for you in the Ball State defensive system. How overall, through first 8 games, would you assess where this team is at defensively?
Defensively, we're growing each week. We found our identity, and the standard is set. And each week we trying to play to our best standard and play to our best ability. What is that standard? We are a real stingy defense. We don't really want guys scoring points, so we don't want guys catching balls on us. We feel like we got the talent in the back end through the linebackers and the D-line. We got the whole thing, and when we playing our best football, nobody should be scoring on us, and we should be dominating every time.
Seems like whenever we look at the box score, you, Jay Riley, Malcolm, AJ, Nick, everybody's doing something big, either tackle for loss, pass breakups, fumbles. What about this unit makes it special?
We all hungry. We all want to dominate. We all hold ourselves to a high standard. So, each week it might be Jay Riley, it might be me, it might be Nick. You never know who it is. But we all got playmakers and we all got ballers on our team, and we feel like we a dominant group.
How have you grown throughout the season, you personally?
Throughout the season, just taking it one day at a time, growing, coming here and everything, just blending with the team, and me just becoming the leader on the back end and everything, just with my communication and just playing hard and playing physical and just blending with the guys has really been special.
What was hear the word communication in the defensive backfield and on defense as a whole? How vital is that to be able to have success?
Communication is huge because, if one play we mess up, boom, it's a touchdown, all of communication. So we got to make sure we on point each and every play, and we communicating through the back end, and everybody know the call, and everybody know where they're supposed to be in line, and they know the job they got to do. So communication is huge.
What's been the most fun part about playing for Ball State football?
Just playing with the guys, man. Playing with this team, just coming in and blending with Nick, and we've been putting in extra work every time. We always put in extra work, and we talk about it, and then winning games, and just being on that field and playing football.
It was pretty cool in the press conference today. You were talking about you'd go out and play on concrete, you'd go play anywhere, play in the parking lot. How does that mentality help going onto a football field and facing other teams?
Just having that toughness, being a tough Cardinal. I mean, being a Ball State Cardinal, playing with that toughness in there. We'll play you anywhere. Like, we got the guys and we hungry and we want to dominate each week and dominate our opponent and put fear into our opponent. Just going hard every week, and it don't matter where you put us at. We feel like we love this game enough to definitely play you anywhere.
You talk about putting you anywhere, and you specifically, you've been to a couple different stops throughout your collegiate career. I just want to break down, Jaquan, what your journeys look like, and for you as a person too. Let's go all the way back to your first days in college. What was it like being at Villanova and having that experience?
So coming into Villanova as a freshman, I played there my freshman, sophomore, junior year. And, I came in as a true freshman. I started this third game of the season. I actually came in as a corner, and then one of our safeties had tore his ACL, and they put me in, and they moved me to safety, and I've been playing safety from there. And then I played some corner. Sophomore and junior year, I played corner, and just going in with those guys, and I'm saying I had a good group of guys to be around and learn from. Like, the seniors on that team helped me as a freshman, and I just try to do the same here, being a senior on this team, helping the guys, younger guys come up, and I'm saying give them what I know. Whatever I know, try to pass it down. And because the guys definitely did that when I was a freshman, they did that for me.
You talk about going safety to cornerback. What's the biggest difference between being a safety and being a cornerback? Because everybody looks at it and says, oh, they're defensive back, right? But what are the biggest differences between those two positions?
Being a safety and being a cornerback, being a corner, 9 times out of 10 you're gonna be on the island 9 times out of 10, and you're gonna be covering a lot. But at safety, you playing both. Like, 9 times you at corner, you play in the run too, but like safety, you more in the run game. You're dealing with tight ends, you're dealing with guards pulling at you and everything. So just being more physical, I would say that playing safety, you got to be more physical.
So going back to those Villanova days where you were able to come in and play early in your career, what were the last couple of years like for you at Nova before making the decision to go to Iowa State?
My last few years at Nova was good. I was balling out. I went all conference at corner, and it was really good for me. Like, I decided to transfer. The only reason I decided to transfer because once COVID came around, we had our season canceled. And I had decided to hit the transfer portal, and I had a lot of buzz around my name. So I decided, hey, I'm gonna hit the transfer portal, and I got offers from a bunch of Power 5 schools. I decided to go to Iowa State. It was a good fit for me and everything, and I had one of my boys used to go play safety over there with me. So when I went up there, I had went up there with my boy and everything, and I played there and everything. First game of the season, I had tore a ligament in my ankle, and I was out for the season then. But my years at Villanova definitely was special, and that's a place that I hold in my heart for a long time, for sure.
Yeah, when you talk about Iowa State, how tough was it to go through that injury that early in your career there at Iowa State after just the one game?
It was tough because I'm from Philadelphia, and Villanova is actually 20 minutes outside of Philly, so my support system is so much bigger than when I flew 17 hours out to Iowa.
Yeah.
And I was in middle of nowhere, and I got hurt. I had really nobody to lean on but myself, so I had to be tough. And I went through a lot mentally, and I really grew from that moment. So, and actually, as me coming here, I see things a lot differently. Just going through the moments when I was by myself and I was hurt. I mean, I tried to do whatever I could to help the team, but I was out for the season, and it was tough on me mentally, and having a plan, just going from Villanova to Iowa State, trying to go to the NFL, chase my dreams of going to the NFL and get drafted and everything. And I get hurt first game of the season, so that was a lot on me mentally, and and I had to figure it out a lot. I figured a lot of things out. So,
what types of things did you have to figure out?
Mentally, just being strong and being more than an athlete. This is my first season I had missed, and I was things were so hard for me. I haven't been out of football in so long, and I missed the season out for the season. It was just hurt. I was hurt about it. So just being mentally tough.
And now that you're at Ball State, what got you to Ball State? Left Iowa State. What got you here?
Actually, when I first hit the portal coming out of Villanova, I was coach. I was in contact with Coach, and I decided to go to Power 5. But and then afterwards, even I had decided to hit the transfer portal from Iowa State. I had an injury and everything. Coach still believed in me. He knew the player I was, and he even gave me a shot. He gave me a shot, and I'm forever grateful for that shot. And now I'm at Ball State and trying to play my best ball and finish these last 4 games out. And Ball State, I'm a Cardinal for life.
What was that conversation like when Coach wanted to bring you back after Iowa State?
It was just like he got me up here for a visit, and once I got up for a visit, I talked to guys like Bryce, Cosby, JT Wahi, and they was like, they just told me how I was, their time here, and I came here with on a mission, basically. Like, I'm here to play football. I don't really care what's going on campus. I'm here to play ball and everything and trying to dominate and win games.
You still talk to some of those folks like Bryce Cosby?
Yeah, he was actually here not too long ago, so we definitely kicked it this past weekend.
So if you had to sum up what your journey's been, how would you sum it up? From Villanova to Ball State, how would you sum it up?
I've been ups and downs, God put me on this journey, and I'm forever grateful for this journey. You learn a lot. It's all about the journey. It's not about the destination, You know what I'm saying? Going through this journey, you really grow as a person. I learned a lot about myself as a person, just keep going, and things might, when you go through adversity, it's not always going to be, it's not going to always rain. You know what I'm saying? You're going to see it's going to be a lot on the other side. You know what I'm saying?
Jaquan, 4 games left in the regular season. You kind of touched on it, but they're all Tuesday night action games. It'll be your first taste of Tuesday action. What excites you most about that?
What excites me to play on Tuesday, you know what I'm saying, just another opportunity to go to war with my brothers. We playing on Tuesday. We're going to be on ESPN, so that's big. All my family get to see me from back home. And just playing on Tuesday is different, but, hey, I'm ready.
Well, Jaquan, we appreciate you jumping on the show.
Appreciate you having me.
That's Jaquan Amos joining us on Chirpcast. We'll sit down with Kyle King coming up next and talk about his journey on Chirpcast.
Did you know that your dental exam can reveal many other health issues? Poor sleep, headaches, anxiety, and acid reflux are just a few issues that can be recognized in a dental exam. All health care can be made easier when caught early, so prevention is the key. Our team at University Avenue Dental prides itself in being on the cutting edge as part of your medical team. With thorough testing, imaging, and examination, Dr. Greg Powell will work with you on a personal level to ensure you receive the very best care. If preventative care is what you're looking for, please call Dr. Pyle at 765-288-6121 or online at drgregpyle.com.
One more to talk to here on Chirpcast, the Coach's Show. Kyle King, defensive lineman for Ball State football. We've already talked with Jaquan Amos and head coach Mike Neu looking at Kent State, talking about the season as a whole. Make sure to find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. We're on those platforms. Kyle, appreciate you jumping on with us.
Yeah, excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Kyle, so let's just talk about Ball State football overall as the season goes. Through 8 games, how would you assess where this group is at right now?
I think we're definitely on the uptrend. We got a lot of young guys stepping in there, a lot of, experienced older guys that are in there to help the younger guys come along. But I think we're definitely on the uptrend. I'm seeing a lot of positive things coming out of our guys, and, just gelling as a unit as a whole, it's looking a lot better.
When you talk about gelling as a unit, this defensive line, the linebackers, the DBs, it seems like the defense is just the last 4 or 5 weeks. The gel is becoming even better. What's led to that the last 4 weeks?
I'd say just communication as a whole, from the guys with their hands on the ground to the guys in the back end. The linebackers, you got to have communication. We all got to be on the same page, because you're doing your 111th out there, and you want to make sure you're doing the right job. And, it's going to help you make plays. It's going to help your teammate make plays. So just communicating as a whole has really pushed us to the next level.
You guys have definitely made some plays. I think 14 sacks the past 4 weeks. Yeah. Why is this group being able to do that on a consistent level with the depth that you guys have?
Mm-hmm. We're definitely, we got a lot of depth. We got some younger guys under us that need to be, getting in there and making their plays. So having this depth, having these experienced older D linemen, all this communication going on, it's really helped, just be more consistent overall as the weeks go by. We're having a lot more sacks, a lot more production in the backfield. So we're coming together, picking things apart in film, seeing what we can do to help us get back there, and it's really helping.
When you talk about picking apart things in film, for you specifically as a player, what were you seeing early in the season that you've adjusted at this point in the year?
I'd say just our overall effort as a whole. Definitely the D-line's effort, That's one thing Coach McKenzie harps about is, effort rush. If you don't get your first move, they lock you up a little bit. You keep rushing with effort, you're going to fall into a play eventually. So just seeing the effort, the physicality change, just getting back into playing football. We've been off for a little bit, just off-season pushing weight and stuff. Just getting back into playing ball, effort rush. It's really helped us overall.
What has Coach McKenzie done specifically that's helped you grow as a player?
He's definitely taught me how to use my hands a lot more. That guy has played a lot of ball, so he's a good guy to learn some things off of. So he's definitely taught me how to use my hands, take the correct rush angle. So it's going to put me in a better position. Use my power, pull off of it, disengage. He's really taught me a lot of things that I learned them, but he's really just harped on them to refine them.
When you talk about all that, the disengage, use your hands, how do you get better at that?
You work it every day in practice. We're doing all these drills, just striking each other, just learning how to find that counterbalance so you can throw off better and just come free off those plays. Just working it over and over again, that repetition, it just starts to click, makes it second nature.
We're getting into the nitty-gritty details here, but when you talk about striking a player, what does that mean? When you're in practice, you're hitting them, you're moving them?
Yeah, you're putting your hands on them and you're just locking them out, keeping them off of you. Just that initial strike on them to get that separation, it'll help you a lot.
You talk about the hands, but how about your legs? When you are a defensive lineman, what are you doing with your legs, your feet, to try and make sure that you're still getting to where you need to get to?
Oh, you got to keep your legs moving. If your legs are still, they're going to get you because their legs are moving. Everybody's trying to create that power. So keeping your legs moving, having that leg drive, pushing back the pocket, that's something you just harp on every day. It's just something you got to do to make plays.
What does this defensive line group do as a whole that makes everybody else better around them?
I think we push ourselves to a ridiculous standard. We're always accountable of each other. We're always together. Just having us all together like that, it makes a bond that everyone sees on the team. They see how close we are. We're probably one of the closest groups on the team. You can come to our room. You're always going to have fun. You're going to get coached up. We're always working together. And it just makes it easy as a whole.
When you talk about accountability, how tough is it to keep each other accountable? Everybody's at the same age. Everybody's in college. Everybody's trying to get better. How do you keep everybody accountable while doing it in a respectful way that makes everybody better?
You definitely, there's definitely an ego thing. We all have our egos as men, but you got to leave your ego at the door and just learn that these are your brothers. They're saying it to you for a reason. We all have the same goal, win every week, be 1-0, it'll take us far. So just doing that, staying on each other, you don't want to do it, but you need to do it. It's one of those things. So it just helps us as a whole.
How did you learn how to do that once you got to Ball State? Because yes, you played at Michigan State. You played that dance in a Power 5 school. But once you get to Ball State, how did you see that part of the game change for you?
Yeah, it definitely changed a lot. I was a lot more quiet. Wasn't really fitting in as much with all the guys, but. You find a confidence when you start hanging out with dudes. You get closer as a unit. These are like your brothers, so it's like just tough love. Just being able to get on your brother, let him know, like, come on, man, pick it up. We need you. Like, we're gonna need you. It's gonna take us far. You help us, we're gonna do it. Like, it's just a lot better to do it like that.
With Kyle King here on Chirpcast, the coach's show. We've already talked to Jaquan Amos and head coach Mike Neu. Kyle, I have to ask, who's trying to grow out the longest hair, you or Carson? Is this a competition, or is it just you like the long hair? What's going on?
You always got to have the flow, but I think Carson definitely has me beat. And when you have the flow like that and you're jumping over people, I think you just automatically deserve the win.
That's fair, but you're going through people sometimes too on the D-line. So
I mean, he's going through people and he's going over them.
Fair.
So maybe if I can hurdle someone, I can be in the race with them.
How long is it? Is it past the shoulders yet? Getting close?
We're getting close. We're getting some lettuce back there, but we'll see.
You gonna let it grow, or are you gonna cut it soon?
I'll probably cut it soon.
Okay. Kyle, we've talked a little bit about the defense as a whole, your hair. Just talk about your journey overall from playing high school football in Indiana, going to Michigan State, and then coming back to Ball State. What has this journey been like for you?
The journey's definitely been fun. I played a lot of ball in high school, both sides of the ball. We didn't have a lot of guys that could really go both sides. So playing a lot of ball there was definitely fun. Won some state championships, back to back. Then you go to college, you're just working, grinding, being the freshman, trying to find a spot anywhere. You don't really play as much. So it was kind of weird because play all these snaps and you go to just 0, and it's a big check on your ego as a person because you're just used to being that guy, and then you got to leave your ego at the door because you're down there grinding on scout team and all that. But yeah, it definitely helped me grow as a person. I saw some things that I needed to see just to grow, some things you don't want to see, just not playing, stuff like that. Really helps test your mental strength. Coming back home, got a good spot, got a good opportunity, worked my butt off to get where I'm at, and it's paying off so far. I'm having fun in Muncie.
When you talk about having to be patient, check the ego at the door, how were you doing that at Michigan State, especially after those first couple of weeks where you weren't seeing those consistent snaps?
Right, just playing scout team. Taking every little snap you get, and not taking it to heart. Not pouting about it. Just doing what you can, trying to help the team, and just giving as much effort as possible. And I think that really helped me develop into the player I am because you get a lot of reps on scout team against some really good talent, and it definitely helps you.
What was behind the decision for you to go to Michigan State out of Indiana in high school?
Oh, I loved the coaching staff there. I was the last class under D'Antonio, so it was really good. A lot of heart-to-heart conversations with those guys. So, I had a good spot in East Lansing. A lot of good people there that I've met, and just a good coaching staff overall. And I was excited to go.
What was behind the decision to come back to Indiana and play for Ball State?
Yeah, definitely just not playing as much. I definitely had a little role I was getting there, just third down rushing and stuff, but I wanted to take on a little bit bigger role, and coming back home was a big thing. I struggled a lot just not being around my family, and I'm an only child. I've been really close with my cousins, so just hanging out with them all the time was always fun, and I just felt kind of like I was out of the loop with everything. So just coming back home, being able to, drive 40 minutes to go see my family whenever has really helped me, and it's really put my mental in a better spot.
When did it click for you that you wanted to transfer to Ball State?
Probably after a little bit before our bowl game, just thinking man, I could really be at home. You got the break coming up after the bowl game, and just being back home with the family, it really makes you think wow, I could be 40 minutes from them instead of 4 hours. So I'd say nearing the end of the season, we had a really successful season there, 11 wins or whatever. But, it's just at the end of the day, you just want to be happy. You got to have your mental right. So that was a big thing for me.
Oh, yeah, man. Definitely have to have the mental right. So for you, year one of Ball State, what has it meant for you to be a Cardinal?
It's meant a lot. I've learned a lot of good things here about, how to be a better person, how to treat everyone with respect. It's the big family atmosphere here. So being a Cardinal is a good thing for me. Taking every day one at a time, just trying to get better each and every day is something we've really harped on here. So I'm enjoying it.
How much do you mix in the experiences you've learned at Michigan State to now Ball State?
You mix them all. You learn things every day. You make all these decisions every day. Anything that can help benefit you, you try to take it with you. So things I've learned at MSU, same things you learn here, just a little bit different. You just take them with you and just try to be a better person every day.
What's something that has stuck with you once you first got to campus on Ball State? Was there something specifically said to you? Did you go through an experience? Was there something you said, okay, wow, this is going to stick with me forever to take with me in life or on the football field? Anything like that?
I'd probably just say our motto of, one at a time. It's so passionate here how all the coaches just, harp on one at a time, and how it's just helped us every day, just as a team, as a person, as a family. You take every day one at a time. You just try to make the most of it.
You'll be doing one of those things at a time, and that is midweek action, Tuesday night football. How does that sound?
That sounds pretty fun to me. Any week you're playing ball is going to be a good week. So, it's going to be a little different atmosphere. It's going to be cold. It's going to be dark, but we'll play anywhere.
Cold, dark, a lot of rain on Tuesday nights, it seems like, more than Saturday afternoons. What have you heard from either coaches, players about Tuesday night action?
I've heard it's not going to have a lot of people there. It's just going to be us. It's going to be some cold football. It's going to be a grind. It's going to be a war. It's going to be battle. I've heard it takes it to a different level of competition. I heard everyone brings it. It's going to be some fun football, so I'm excited for it.
Yeah, it is fun football. Everybody talks about it. It's the talk of the week leading up with ESPN. Everybody's excited to always be on national TV. Kyle, there's only 4 regular season games left. It's pretty hard to believe that we've gotten to this point. What excites you most about the rest of the season? You don't even have to mention the matchup part of it, but just the season as a whole. What excites you the most?
It's definitely gone by pretty fast. I'm excited. Just playing ball is always something to be excited for. You got 4 games. with this team, some guys are going to be leaving after this, so you just got to make the most of it. This team will never be whole like it is right now. After this year, some guys are going to leave, some guys will transfer, some guys will graduate. It'll never be the same team again. So just take every day as it is and just see what you can do.
Well, Kyle, I think that's a perfect way to put a bow on this one. Appreciate you jumping on.
Thank you for having me.
That's Kyle King joining us on Chirpcast, the Coaches Show. Make sure to check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. Ball State, Kent State, Tuesday night action, first of 4 straight weeks in Mid-American Conference play. Thanks for joining us on Chirpcast, powered by Learfield.
This has been the Chirpcast with Mick Tidrow.